until Disney decides to release another trilogy in the mainline series. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is the final bow on the 42-year package that is the Skywalker saga. And while it answers a lot of long-standing questions, it also raises just as many questions as it answers. Here are some of the big ones, and of course, spoilers are ahead. One burning question the movie answers within its opening minutes is whether Emperor Palpatine is alive. And he is. He's not a Force ghost and not identified as a clone. He's the full-on flesh-and-blood Chief Palpatine, being kept alive by a very tall mechanical life support system. Nothing he communicates to Kylo Ren, Rey, or General Pryde mentions any words about how he survived being thrown down a giant pit at the end of Return of the Jedi. Nobody bothers to ask him either. Everybody who now knows the Emperor is back, including Luke Skywalker's Force ghost, who you'd think would be really curious to learn how Palpatine made it out of that pickle, just kind of rolls with it. Even the Resistance spends only a few minutes being incredulous before simply accepting that Palpatine is alive and kicking.
No, you must die!
The Rise of Skywalker's biggest revelation is the truth of Rey's parentage. After meeting Palpatine on the Sith planet Exegol, Kylo Ren learns that what he knew about Rey's parents was only partially true. Yes, they sold her. Yes, they were basically nobody. But it was all intentional. They made themselves anonymous and left Rey behind because her father was Emperor Palpatine's son, making Rey the Emperor's granddaughter. But hold up a minute. Emperor Palpatine had a son? When? Let's try to work it out. If the Emperor's family ages like other humans, Rey is probably in her early 20s by the time the Rise of Skywalker takes place, which would mean her father would probably have been born 40 to 50 years earlier, given how he looks in flashbacks. So Palpatine Jr. would probably have been born sometime between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. So where was he during the original trilogy? Who was his mother? Was the younger Palpatine a clone, like his illegitimate son in the old extended universe? It isn't addressed, so your guesses are as good as anyone else's. Long I have waited. That ominous statement from Emperor Palpatine is essentially his greeting to his granddaughter Rey. But why spend decades just sitting around on Exegol? Presumably because he was waiting for his fleet of planet-exploding Star Destroyers to be finished, but we're also told that he tried to have Rey brought to him when she was just a child. So what really was his plan? Why did he need to create Snoke to be his puppet? Could he not have just shown back up and started the First Order himself? Perhaps he was too physically weak, but he was hardy enough to create all those Snoke clones. Why did he have to use Kylo Ren as his intermediary rather than going directly to Rey? She may have been well hidden for a while, but eventually she made herself very well known. Why did Palpatine's plan have to be so complicated?
Sometimes I just don't understand human behavior.
Rey and the gang find a dagger on Ochi's ship that has the directions to one of the Sith Wayfinders written on it. But there's a catch. It's written in the ancient Sith language, and that's not something they teach in scavenger school on Jakku. C-3PO is able to read it, but can't relay a translation to his pals because his programming forbids it. When he starts to explain that there are some legalities behind that prohibition involving the Galactic Senate, Poe cuts him off before he can get into the details. Our heroes get around that roadblock by having droidsmith Babu Frick do a potentially dangerous and definitely unethical procedure to extract the information. But let's back up a bit. How does C-3PO know Sith? By the time Anakin Skywalker built the droid from spare parts, Sith speak would seemingly have only been a language used by the highly secretive Sith Order, which had been in hiding for hundreds of years. Maybe C-3PO's parts were really old and from a time when Sith was a lot more common. Or maybe his language software is just really good. Chief Palpatine knows how to play a crowd. He drew thunderous applause while Liberty died, remember? He similarly gets his audience of black-robed figures white-hot with excitement as he dares Rey to strike him down on Exegol. He has them eating right out of his horribly disfigured hands. Just one question though, who are those people in the stands? They're almost assuredly Sith of one type or another, since Exegol is the secret Sith homeworld. But are they living creatures? Are they more beings he created like he did with Snoke? Are they the spirits of all the Sith who lived in the past? Palpatine says he contains all of the Sith within him. Is that them? Did they build his fleet of planet-exploding Star Destroyers? Where did they go? Rey claims the name Skywalker at the end of the movie, making her at least one of the Skywalkers who rise in the movie. She uses the combined force energy of every Jedi who ever put on a robe to defeat her grandfather, deflecting his own force lightning back at him. And she helps redeem Ben Solo. She does a lot of good things, but Palpatine makes the deal very clear. If she kills him, she becomes the Empress. So even though she doesn't absorb his life force like he planned, isn't she the Empress? By birthright? By order of succession? There's no Republic to go back to any longer. They got wiped out. Sure, Rey may just dissolve everything and start a new Republic, but there's a slew of First Order and Final Order loyalists out there desperate for a leader to tell them what to do. It may be Rey's responsibility to say, if nothing else, hit the bricks.
Okay.
Heavy is the head that wears the hood, right? Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about Star Wars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.